Welcome to the U World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Welcome to the show, Angel. It's so nice to have you here. We were talking a little bit before we got started about the fact that you're retired 4 years early from the Air Force. That's pretty impressive. So I'd like you to tell us all about what you're doing, and you maybe want to start with how you retired 4 years early. Pretty cool.
Well, thank you so much, Jill. I'm really excited to be here with you today. The 4 years early actually is just, I feel blessed, honestly, for that to even come into play. So as you said, I was in the Air Force for 16 years. And during that time, I kind of was trying to find myself. I love being in the Air Force. I had many jobs. The first 4 years, I was a command post controller and an emergency actions controller. So flight following all kinds of cool aircraft and all that good stuff. But 4 years into it, well, actually 2 years into it, I decided to get married and start a family and all that. And so I'm like, you know what, this job isn't really conducive. So what can I do to switch it up a little bit? So I retrained, became a dental lab technician. I did that for a number of years and absolutely hated that job. It was like the worst job ever. You're literally sitting behind a bench in a lab all day and just grinding on porcelain, waxing crowns and dentures. You're changing people's lives, which is what I love to do, but I just didn't like the job. So fast forward, I was basically running from dental lab and was applying for any special duty that would have me. And that's where I fell into recruiting. And that is really where I found my love. It literally like a light just switched on inside of me. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And what was special about what I was doing at that time, the age group that I was working with was about 17 to 27. So running into individuals, same as me, didn't really know what they wanted to do with their lives. Some of it was financial. They wanted to go to college, but they didn't have the funds to do that. And I was able to coach them into joining the Air Force and helping them to be successful even after they joined. And that passion really stuck with me. Like, it's one of those things I just couldn't shake. I didn't know what it was going to look like on the other side. But fast forward, got the opportunity to retire early under a temporary early retirement authority, which was awesome. And I took it and ran with it. No backup plan, no money saved. Like, my kids went to stay with my mom and my dad for a year. I lived with my cousin. I was like, I'm just gonna take this leap of faith. So got out, retired. And really what started what I'm doing now is me trying to find a job when I got out. So when you get out of the Air Force, they have this thing called transition assistance program. And, they're like, oh my gosh, everyone loves veterans. Everyone's going to want to hire you because you're a recruiter and it's going to be so easy. And it was not easy. I was applying for jobs. It was like throwing spaghetti at a wall. No one was calling me back. And it was difficult. And the way I was finally able to land a job was actually through networking. I went to a networking event. I met someone who knew someone who knew someone, and that's how I got a job. My first job was a corporate recruiter. And once I got in the door, I learned all the behind the scenes ins and outs of what goes on in the hiring process. And as I learned that, I was like, there's so much that the regular day-to-day person doesn't know. And I committed my life to helping individuals land those jobs by creating customized strategies for them, as well as kind of teaching them the behind the scenes of the hiring process.
Wow, that's a lot. When you're talking about learning the behind the scenes for the HR departments and getting hired. That's got to be so fascinating. What is the one big secret we all need to know?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. Oh
I
my gosh.
can imagine. I mean, we've gone from, you looked in the newspaper or you went to a headhunter or something back in the day, and now everything's online and it's.
Yes. I would say, well, I always kind of start with the resume, as far as something tactical, to take your address off. It seems so simple, but people are still putting their addresses on there. And unfortunately, there are hiring managers or even some recruiters that may make a decision for you. They may say, oh, you live too far away from the office, you're not going to want to drive, or they'll actually look up your neighborhood. Unfortunately, there's a lot of it shouldn't be that way, but the reality is it is happening. So in order to prevent that from happening, that's one of the things that I tell individuals. But even with knowing all of that, I would take it away. I wouldn't even lean so much on the secret, but just the confidence in knowing who you are. That's what you need to get through this process, because there's so much information out there. Man, I could go all day about that, but what you really need to do is be confident in your skills, be able to translate those skills. And once you get in front of the hiring manager or recruiter, just being able to express those skills. That would, because you could get caught up in, and I talked to some of my clients about this. Oh my gosh, they're discriminating against me, or they're not going to hire me. I don't have these qualifications. You got to get all of that out of your head and be confident that you are the person for the job, and what's for you is for you, and no one can take that away. So that would probably be the biggest secret, if anything, is just to have that confidence within yourself.
Yeah. And where would you say people need to go when it comes to finding jobs? I mean, do they talk to you? Do you help them to find a job, or do you just help them package themselves for the interview?
Right. So what I do is pretty comprehensive. So what I start with, honestly, is just helping get clarity around what it is that you want, because a lot of times individuals are doing what they think society wants them to do, or they think what their mom wants them to do. So before we talk about where to go find a job, let's really get clear about what it is what's important to you. Is being able to wake up in the morning and exercise and meditate, and have a morning routine. Is that important for you? Is it important for you to be able to take your kids to school? Is it important for you to be able to go on really nice vacations, take care of your aging parents? Like, what's important to you? And then we can figure out where to go. Of course, there's LinkedIn, there's Indeed, there's all of these great job boards out there. But until you get clarity about what you want to do and why you want to do it, then we can start working on a customized strategy for you.
I think that's good advice, not only for people that are trying to find an employer, but for people that are hanging out their own shingle. I mean, there are so many coaches out there they just want to help everybody do everything, but they lack the clarity on what exactly it is that they're providing for people. And that's why I was over on your website. I was just like, man, this girl, she's got it nailed. She knows exactly what she does. She knows exactly how she helps people. And people know when they need you.
This is true. But it's funny because, and they really do, they feel like they're just throwing spaghetti at a wall. They're trying all the things. They're looking at the YouTube videos. There's so much information out there. It's really hard to digest it all at the end of the day. I know of individuals that are applying for hundreds of jobs. I did it, just not realizing that my resume wasn't where it needed to be, number one, but just not really understanding how the system itself worked. Applying for jobs, or even getting to the interview process and not understanding why you're getting to the recruiter screen, but you're not making it to the panel interview. But there's so much information out there. You can Google how to write a resume. I mean, really, ChatGPT can write something for you. But if you don't understand what's behind what the hiring manager is looking for, you're just putting random prompts in there. And that's where working with me comes into play. Is I really get underneath. I'm going to really dig to ask those questions. I can look at a job description and understand what the hiring manager is looking for. And then again, we'll come up with strategies. We'll help you tell your story. We'll help you figure out your superpower. All this Google and all this generic stuff, again, so much information out there, but it doesn't help you get to your unique superpower. And that's what I help individuals do.
And keywords. People think about keywords in terms of blogging and getting found on search engines, but more and more recruiters, I think, are looking at the keywords that you use in your resume and matching it up with the things that they're asking for in their job offer, and being able to recognize those things. It's not easy. And
No.
having someone like you to just come alongside, I think, is like so crucial. In today's job market, it's like, if you're trying to get a job that's beyond, when you're just starting out, you really need somebody to teach you how to do these skills. So how does your coaching look when you take on a client?
Yeah, so what I do, I've kind of talked about it just a little bit during our first session. Well, let me back up a little bit. I actually have a 4-month coaching program for individuals. And so, and it's broken down into 3 steps. Step 1 is really that envisioning part. That's where we get the clarity around what is it that you want to do, the why, and all that fun stuff. And then we actually start to create the strategy in that step 1. So again, I'm asking really good questions. You're taking a step to slow down and really think about what it is that you want. Step 2 is really where we actually, it's the meat of the program. That's where we're rewriting your resume. We are doing a lot of mock interviews. I teach individuals how to network. Again, you can Google a whole lot of templates, but you don't know, it doesn't really help you understand the how. So there's a lot of information out there, but I really help individuals implement that. And again, they have access to my network as well. I had one individual, her goal was actually to become she was in higher education. So she was an admissions counselor, and she really wanted to move into the corporate world and become a learning and development specialist, which she had no experience doing whatsoever. So again, we took her through that, getting clarity around what is it that you want to do. She was actually on the fence between that and being a recruiter because she had known me or worked with me a little bit before. We quickly decided recruiting is not for her. And then what I did, we created a network for her of other individuals that were in that type of career field that she wanted. But then what we did, I literally went through line by line job descriptions. Do you have these qualifications? Do you have these skills? And if not, we came up with a plan for her to get these skills. And I kid you not, within 2 months, she had her first interview for a job that technically she had never done before. And she was able to transform and get that L&D job. Not only has she gotten that job, she kept interviewing because it wasn't quite what she wanted. And she finally got the dream job about a month and a half ago and hit the salary that she wanted as well. And so that step 3 is kind of where we bring step 1 and step 2 together, and that's executing. So resume is good. I'm walking you through how to apply, what companies align with your vision, how to network with individuals that have previously worked at those companies so you can make sure that company culture aligns to what you're looking for as well. And then at that point, we're just waiting on that final job offer. I help with negotiation at the end. And if there's time at the end of the 4-month program, because some individuals, it doesn't take the whole 4 months, I help with the first 90 days and setting them up for success so that when it's time for performance review, annual reviews, raises, that they set themselves up properly for their career.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Would you recommend that people start working with you before they jump?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The ideal candidate should already be working in a job right now because it takes time. A lot of times individuals will come to me, after they've been laid off, and it's like, don't wait until that happens. Like you already feel that tug. Like, I know I've been through this before. I worked for an organization and I was there for about 2.5 years. And about the 2-year mark, something was telling me, Angel, it's time to go. But I love the company and I love the people. And I'm like, no, they would never lay me off. And I'm Angel, like I'm irreplaceable. And then I actually started, right. I started interviewing for jobs, and I actually got an offer from a company and I turned it down. And literally a month after that, I was laid off from that company. So the good thing about it, I was kind of putting my own practices in place by networking, keeping my resume up to date and all those things. So literally I used my own coaching program and got a job in a month. So that works for me. But I said all that to say we typically can feel it. Like there's something that will pull. So when you feel that pull or that tug, something isn't quite right, that's when it's a good time to reach out to me and we can get started. And then of course, if you have lost your job, we can accelerate it. But I also like to tell individuals, this is a marathon. Anyone that's selling you on, you can get a job in 3 weeks or a month, it's possible. Anything is possible. But typically in this day and age, and especially with the macro environment, the way it is right now, it takes time. So you have to have that patience and you really have to be anchored in your values and the why, because that's going to carry you through those tough times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so, things move fast right now, but they move so slow.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hurry up. And then we'll let you know. And it could be like 20 days or it could be 3 months.
Yes.
I've seen that in the market too. And I think you're spot on when you talk about knowing what you want to do and where your superpower is, because that just makes everything so much easier when you're working in your zone of genius, as they say.
Yes, you are so right. It really does. Even for me, when I'm coaching, it doesn't feel like work. I do have another 9-to-5 job where I'm actually a recruiting manager for a fintech company. But when I'm doing coaching, it doesn't feel like work. I can stay up all night. I'm, preparing, presentations or workshops and all that. It feels good while I'm doing it. And it's important because, as a fairly new entrepreneur, it's tough, I'm, trying to hit the sales and all that. So if I didn't genuinely care about people and really believe in what I'm doing, I would have hung up my entrepreneur shoes like a long time ago. But that's really what keeps me going through these hard times.
What's your biggest struggle when it comes to trying to transition from being an employee to being an entrepreneur? Because they're really different animals. And I'd like your thoughts on those.
I still struggle with this because I am a high achiever. And so I want to excel at my current job. And, I'm so used to being that person, the go-to person, whereas I'm trying to flip the switch like, okay, this is what is financing your dream, and it causes me to operate a little differently at my current job. I do my job, I do it well, but I used to be one of those individuals. I'm staying online until, 7, 8 o'clock at night. I can't do that anymore. I have to shut it down at 5. I have to set up those boundaries because it's my business is important. If not, it's just as important, if not more, than my corporate job, to be honest. The dream is to be able to coach full time, and so that's one of the biggest struggles for me because I mentor at my corporate job. I give a lot of myself, like that's just who Angel Rush is, period, outside of a corporate job or a company. And so sometimes I'll find that I end up drained because I've given so much to my corporate job and then my company gets the leftovers. So I'm kind of working through that, just trying to set up really good boundaries. Like, hey, you're not, cheating if you log off at 5. Like your job is from, 9 to 5. Log off at 5. It's okay. So
yeah. That is a problem with overachievers.
yeah. That's
I have to give and give and give and then keep giving, and maybe that wasn't enough. Let's give some more.
It's never enough.
When really it was enough. And you're just training your employer to expect you to do a lot more than what they're paying you for. And it also makes the next person's job who comes along behind you exponentially more difficult because there's expectations at a certain level that most people aren't really willing to meet.
Right. I agree. It's something I would never tell I literally coach people on how to set boundaries at work, which is crazy because I've had some of that with some of my clients, but it's one of those things you can preach it all day, but when it's time for you to take the medicine, sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle, but I am actively working on that.
Well, good for you. So you want to share some of your success stories?
Yes, absolutely. So I spoke a little bit about one earlier. Alana, there's actually on my Instagram and Facebook, we did a whole interview, but basically that was the individual that went from an admissions counselor and she's now a learning and development specialist, making the money. That's the most, well, not the most important thing, but that was a driving factor
really
for her.
important.
Yeah, financial independence. So she is thrilled. She's one of my success stories. But I had another one recently, and it was an individual. He did it's a 2-hour intensive program that I have. So my main offer is the 4-month coaching, but I also have a 2-hour package where it's intense. We're going in, making sure your resume is good to go, interview prep and all that good stuff. So I kid you not, we redid his resume, and I mean, within 2 days, he was getting calls. And so he got an offer for a job, more money than he's ever made before. Got that job, was shortly laid off. That's how crazy the economy is. Got the job, used the same resume, the skills that I taught him. His old job found out that he was back on the market, and they've offered him more money. So he has like doubled his salary. But it's just little tweaks in how he was just accepting just mediocrity at the end of the day, I should say. I'm like, why are you not asking for more money? This is crazy. But he's able to take care of his family. He walks different. He talks different. Like he's literally a different person. And what I like to tell people, this is just not about a career. Like when you work with me, you're going to find out some things about yourself that you didn't know, or maybe they were just really deeply hidden. Like you are an amazing individual. And I think people forget that. They get so wrapped up in the day in and day out and taking care of family and kids and all that, but you're amazing. And when you feel that you're amazing, you show up different in an interview, you show up differently at work. Now people that really wouldn't speak to him before, they're asking him like, what's the change in you? And he's referring, his colleagues to me in order for him. Yeah, but that's how big the transformation was. So I recently had some clients, they made a little video just, talking about their experience with me, and they like nicknamed it the angel rush effect. It's like,
I love that.
Yes, but they really are just different people. At the end of the day, they smile more. That's the big thing for me. I know I'm a career strategist and mindset coach and all that good stuff, but to see people feel so good about themselves, that's what it's all about. And then to be able to make a difference, because it trickles down to their family, it trickles down to their friends and anyone that's in contact. And so it's just an exponential progress. It's a beautiful thing. It's what we're doing, as coaches. So.
Changing the world, one person at a time. You just touch one person, and that person has a ripple effect, and it just keeps going out. And that's what I love. Why I love doing what I do is because I know that all these coaches are changing the world. They're making the world a better place for everybody. And as people step into who they want to be and step into their superpowers and make a difference in a way that makes them feel good, then they're going to interact with people differently than if they're just stuck in a job that they hate, but they have to stay there because, they have to make a certain amount of money to continue living because of the way the world is set up right now. So it's so great that you're doing what you're doing. I love that you're stepping out and you're helping people and making a huge difference in lives. So how do people, let me ask you the big question. What's the one thing you want people to take away from this conversation today?
I want them to take away that it's already in you. You just need someone to kind of help pull it out. Resumes are easy. Everybody thinks that their resume is the problem. Your resume is not the problem. It's the easiest thing to fix. But what you have is already in you. You just have to sit still, get quiet, and really not let society or any external force tell you what's right for you. You have to understand what's right for you. You have to identify your values, and then we can move forward with curating a strategy that will get you the career that you deserve. But it really is about self-awareness and understanding what's right for you. So just take an inventory of yourself. That's really what I want individuals to get out of this. And then, of course, I would love to help, guide individuals as they go on this journey to get the career that they really, really desire.
That's awesome. And so how do they get a hold of you?
Sure. So, heyangel@angelscareerrehab.com. There's also my website, which is angelscareerrehab.com. Facebook, same tag. Instagram is Angels Career and then _rehab. And then I'm also on LinkedIn as angelscareerrehab.com. So I'm everywhere, but you can always just send a DM on any of those social media platforms.
Perfect. And we'll make sure that the links are in the episode notes below. Thanks so much for joining us, Angela. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.